The dare was simple, almost childish. Spend one night in the old Blackwood house. That's it. For $100 and bragging rights, it sounded like a steal. My friends, huddled under the sickly orange glow of a streetlight, egged me on. Their faces were a mix of excitement and genuine fear. I just laughed. It was just an old house, right? Just rotting wood and shattered glass. How bad could it be? The Blackwood house stood silhouetted against a bruised, twilight sky. It looked like a skeletal hand reaching for the clouds. Its windows were vacant eyes, its porch a gaping, toothless mouth. The gate groaned in protest as I pushed it open, the sound echoing in the unnerving silence. Every step up the cracked stone path felt heavier than the last. The air grew thick, cold, and smelled of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and vaguely sweet, like old pennies and decay. I pushed a massive oak door. It swung inward without a sound, which was somehow more terrifying than a creak. The darkness inside was absolute. I fumbled for my phone, its flashlight beam cutting a nervous slash through the gloom. The foyer was vast. A grand staircase swept upwards into nothingness, its banister coated in a thick, velvety layer of dust. Cobwebs, heavy as funeral shrouds, draped from the ceiling. A grandfather clock stood silent in the corner, its hands frozen at midnight. I called out, my voice sounding small and thin. "Hello? Anybody home?" The only reply was the frantic pounding of my own heart. I decided to explore the ground floor first. The flashlight beam danced across peeling wallpaper, revealing faint floral patterns underneath the grime. I entered what must have been the living room. A huge fireplace dominated one wall, its matte black with soot. Furniture lay cloaked in white sheets, looking like a gathering of silent, patient ghosts. As I walked, I noticed something strange. My footsteps made no sound on the dusty floorboards. It was as if the house was swallowing the noise. I knelt and touched the floor. The dust was thick, undisturbed, but there were no footprints. Not even my own. A cold knot of dread tightened in my stomach. This wasn't right. I turned my light back towards the foyer. My footprints weren't there either. It was as if I had simply materialized in the middle of the room. I tried to rationalize it. Weird acoustics, maybe? A trick of the light? But the feeling of being watched was becoming overwhelming. It was a physical pressure, like the deep sea. I moved towards the kitchen. The door was slightly ajar. Pushing it open, I was hit by that same sweet metallic smell, stronger now. The kitchen was a wreck. Cabinets hung open. Dishes were smashed on the floor. But in the center of the room, on a clean wooden table, sat a single perfect red apple. It looked freshly picked, glistening under my flashlight. It was so out of place, so vibrant in this world of gray and decay, that it felt like a trap. I backed away slowly, my hand shaking. That's when I heard it. A soft rhythmic sound. Thump, 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 thump. It was slow, deep, and resonant. It was coming from the walls, from the floor. It was everywhere. The house had a heartbeat. Panic seized me. I wasn't just in an old house. I was inside something alive. I bolted from the kitchen, my feet now thudding loudly on the floorboards. The house seemed to notice my panic. The air grew colder, and the rhythmic thumping grew faster, matching my own racing pulse. I ran for the front door, the grand staircase looming to my right. But as I reached for the doorknob, the door slammed shut with a deafening boom that shook the entire frame. I yanked at the knob, but it wouldn't turn. It felt like it was fused to the door. I was locked in. The thumping intensified, vibrating through the solace of my shoes. Then, a new sound, a whisper. It slithered from the shadows, seeming to come from everywhere at once. It was a dry, rustling voice, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It whispered a single word. Ethan, my name. It knew my name. How could it know my name? I spun around, sweeping my flashlight beam across the foyer. Nothing. Just the dust, the shadows, the silent grandfather clock. "Who's there?" I yelled, my voice cracking. The whispering laughed, a sound that grated on my nerves like scraping metal. "We've been waiting, Ethan." "We?" My blood ran cold. I wasn't alone with the house. I backed away from the door, towards the grand staircase. Maybe I could find a window upstairs, break it, and climb out. The thumping was a deafening roar now. Thump, 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 thump. The entire house was shuddering with the force of it. As I placed my foot on the first step, the whispering grew clearer. "You can't leave. You belong to the house now, just like the others." "What others?" I stammered, climbing the stairs 2 at a time. The floral wallpaper beside me seemed to ripple and shift. The faint patterns swirled, their colors darkening. I watched in horror as the flowers began to twist and writhe, their petals forming into small, screaming faces. They were trapped in the walls, their silent agony a permanent part of the house's design. I reached the top of the stairs and ran down the hallway. Doors lined either side, all of them closed. I grabbed the handle of the nearest one and threw it open. It was a child's bedroom. The air was heavy with sadness. A small rocking horse in the corner began to move on its own, rocking back and forth, creaking rhythmically. On the wall, scrawled in what looked like crayon, were the words, "He won't let you leave." I slammed the door shut and tried another. A master bedroom. The sheets on the bed were thrown back, as if someone had just gotten up. But the indentation on the mattress wasn't human-shaped. It was long, thin, and twisted. The whispering was in my ear now, intimate and possessive. "We are the house, Ethan, and the house is hungry." Suddenly, the floor beneath me groaned and began to slant. The hallway was tilting, like the deck of a sinking ship. I lost my footing and slid, tumbling down the now steep incline, back towards the grand staircase. The house was changing its shape, rearranging its own architecture that kept me from escaping. I landed in a heap at the bottom of the stairs, my phone skittering across the floor, its light winking out as it hit the wall. Plunged into absolute darkness, the sounds became my entire world. The roaring heartbeat of the house, the collective, sighing whispers of the trapped souls, and a new sound, a wet dragging noise. Something was coming for me from the living room. I could hear it pulling its immense, unseen weight across the floorboards. The sweet, metallic smell was overpowering now, filling my lungs, choking me. I crawled desperately, my hands searching for the front door in the dark. My fingers brushed against the cold, unyielding wood. It was no use. The dragging sound was closer. I could feel the vibrations in the floor as it approached. The whispering rose in a crescendo, a chorus of despair. "Welcome home, Ethan. Welcome home." I pressed myself against the door, my back to the approaching horror. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for it to be a dream. But the chill I felt wasn't just fear. It was the cold presence of the thing that had been waiting for me in the dark. A low chuckle echoed in the foyer, a sound that was both ancient and utterly inhuman. It wasn't just the house that was alive. The house had a master, and it had been waiting a very, very long time for me to come home. The dare was simple, they said. It was just a house. They were wrong. It was a tomb, and the door was just sealed.